Hi, Emily. Just taking a look at your images here. There's this image that has just you in it. It is fairly blurry. You may have added yourself into this image of this mountain scene and then brought that in maybe. And then it does look like you have a clipping mask of yourself here. It's a different image. Your arm is cut off, so you might want to if you want to have yourself over here, since you have that cut off, you might want to do an edit, transform, flip horizontal. That's how we get it to where to go. Okay, I just flipped it off of the canvas here. Let's try again. So I'm going to move it more towards the center. I'm moving that image of you with the arm clipped off here. I want to select that layer, go to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. And now I can still see it because I moved it towards the center, but we probably want to put that coming off the canvas because it's cut off. So maybe something like that. If we could find higher res images of yourself, that would be good, that aren't quite so blurry when we zoom in. This one might be a little bit better. So if you have an image of yourself, you would just do a File, Place, Embedded. And then, let's see, I have this, I have a me image of me that I could bring in. And then, you can do the object selection on yourself. If you have another image of yourself that you want to work with, hopefully it's high res. So the object selection did a pretty good job getting my body selected, and then I can go to Select and Mask. I'm just working on top of all these layers, but I might want to turn the eyeballs off before I go into Select and Mask. And then I can, clean this up. I can subtract from my selection. I can change my brush size here. It's relatively large right now. If I want to bring it down, I can bring it down in size. I can also bring it up in size. The hardness is just how 100% is really a hard edge. Command Z that, or Control Z to undo. If we want a softer edge, we'd go closer to this end of the scale, which you can see that's pretty soft. So Command Z to undo or Control Z to undo on Windows. And then maybe I want to get rid of some of this extra stuff in my hair. The soft brush isn't doing me any favors, so I'm just going to go a little bit harder with it. Oops. Actually, I just turned up the size, not the hardness. And then, yeah, and if I want to add it back in, if I took a little too much out, I can always add some in. The rest of this is looking pretty good. And then we just need to put this on Layer Mask. And we can feather the edge if we want, maybe a couple pixels. Sometimes that looks good, and then push OK. And then we can turn back on our layers and move whatever around, okay? I just wanted to show you, if you're working with images of yourself that you're wanting to bring in multiple images of yourself, you do a File, Place, Embedded, and then work with maybe the object selection or the quick selection, and then getting into that Select and Mask area, putting it on Layer Mask, and then you'll get that layer mask showing up. In your image. So the image of the clouds, I really like the image of the clouds. I think you probably cut around them in this manner for a reason. You had the opacity turned down on this so that you could kind of see. You could try changing the blending mode on this layer 3. You could change it to maybe like, I'm not sure if any of these will work very well, honestly. This one's kind of cool, but you'd want to move down the image of the city. Oh, not that. I don't want to be on the city. I'm just going to use my keyboard and Shift to bring that down. Not crazy about that, but you can experiment with these and see if you like any of them. I'm not really liking any of them. Multiply is not too bad, but I think normal is probably the way to go. And then just like you had it, turn down the opacity a bit. But I would maybe move the city down a little bit, potentially, something to experiment with. And I like the sky. Let's see, but you could try with this image. I'm going to turn it all the way up so I can work with it. Could try with this image, just maybe grabbing the quick selection and just trying to get like most of the blue, and then going to select a mask and go to invert, and then maybe just bringing back in, you know, we want to use the slider so we can kind of see what's happening, but we can bring back in the head and some of the greens from the trees and stuff by clicking on those, but not on the background, just to try and get those back in on the clipping mask, or on the layer mask that we're going to create. So, and I want to get rid of that little blue area. I'm going to make my brush smaller. Get rid of some of that, and then we can always change the transparency slider to see where we're at. That's not too bad. And then we could push layer mask, push OK. And then you could bring in other skies. You could put this below and maybe turn the opacity up. And maybe bring that image back in without the erased area. Or if you want it over the top, which I actually kind of liked, you could try doing the layer mask so you're not working destructively, because if you use the eraser, then you just lose the information and you can't bring it back. But I like the cloud idea. I think you should elaborate on the cloud idea, but like maybe bring this image back in and do a layer mask on it instead of erasing, and maybe putting a different image for the sky underneath, and then we can turn the layer on this down a little bit. You could also maybe just position this city layer higher so that it's showing up above the country layer. If we moved that, and then turn the opacity back up on the country layer, that might be interesting, and still had some of the clouds in there. You could try that maybe, and then other images of you in there, maybe a larger one so that we could see you a little bit better. Anyway, that's kind of my suggestion. I'm not sure if that's super helpful, but just another image of yourself, another couple clipping masks. Maybe think of a way to combine the country and city image where you're able to see them both relatively clearly. And like maybe something like what I have here where you can see both. And I still like the idea of the clouds, but maybe just done a little differently. All right, talk to you later. Good job. Oh, actually, I think I might have... Okay, you're in RGB color, so just make sure you're in CMYK. Don't merge. Okay. And then image size. Ooh. Okay, we're on a different size here. So make sure this is unchecked, the resample. If you go to image size, let's make sure this is on 300. Push OK. And then image canvas size. And we want to put this on inches. 8. We want this, let's see, 11 by 8.5. And push OK. So this is going to get really pixelated, I think. So let's push Shift and get all of these selected. Do a Command T and size it up. Oops, size it up to fill the canvas. This is going to make it blurry because we're sizing up small images. So that's going to be a little bit problematic for you. Let's see. Yeah. So you might want to just reset up your document, do a file, new, set it up to 11 by 8.5, 300 CMYK color, transparent background, create, and then just do a file place on your raw images and clip yourself out a couple times, bring in your country image, bring in your background image all over again, if you want to try and get that resolution back up, because with this one you had it in so small, and then we're trying to size up a small image to make it bigger, and it's just going to lose resolution when we size up small images to bigger images. So you might have to start over, but hopefully it goes faster for you. I think you must have just opened up a background image and then started placing things into it instead of starting a new document and then doing a file save as. Oops, not save a copy, file save as. Put it in your documents on your computer, in your documents, in your Graphic Design 231, in your Photoshop portrait folder, name it Marion Portrait. Obviously your first name, and then save. Okay, and then this is when you start placing in file place, embedded or linked, but I usually tell you embedded, and then you can start bringing in those images of you to work with. This isn't the right one, but you know what I'm saying, and then like you can clip yourself out of the background and things like that. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you have problems. All right, talk to you later.